Welcome to Sovereign Nation. I'm Michelle Malkin. On Focus today, big tech bias. They hate us. They really, really hate us. We don't have to speculate about how the overlords of Silicon Valley feel about President Trump, his supporters, and the populist movement in general. Big tech bullies have voiced their contempt and mockery for years. Let me bring you back to 2016, shortly after Donald J. Trump shocked the establishment and triggered liberal tantrums nationwide. A leaked video of Google's company-wide post-election gripe session went public on Breitbart.com. It featured top execs consoling themselves and their employees over Hillary Clinton's loss. Cue the boo-hoo-hoos.
I know this is probably not the most joyous TGIF we have had. Let's face it, most people here are pretty upset and pretty sad for because of the election.
Google is a trusted source of information for people around the world. That's incredibly valuable at times like this. To make that happen, to figure out how we're going to navigate not only continuing to make transformative products and making the world a better place, and yeah, I'll say it even though they mock Silicon Valley for believing it, we need to be able to work together. We need to have each other's back. We need to stand together in a time that's going to be incredibly difficult.
So for what it's worth, I've been a very long time Hillary supporter. But as Kent said, the most important thing is I very much respect the outcome of the democratic process, and who any one of us voted for is really not the point, because the values that are held dear at this company transcend politics. I suggested that what we all need right now is a hug. So everybody, if you could turn around or go to the person next to you and do a hug. It works. Woo! Yes!
These Google elites see themselves as saviors and righteous gatekeepers who must correct all of us who made the wrong choice in 2016 by voting for Donald Trump amid a rising tide of nationalism.
It was a shock to all of us, the results of the election. It was a fair and democratic process, and we honor that. But at the same time, it showed an incredible level of division among Americans, and that's something that gives us pause and focuses on how did we misunderstand that? What can we do to reach out to people whose perspective we have a hard time understanding? But it's not just a challenge for America. It's a challenge that goes well beyond America. The implications for the rest of the world are vast, and the echoes around the world are significant. This is not the first sign we've seen of this rising tide of nationalism, populism, and concern.
These bitter, babbling big tech titans derided low information voters for believing what Silicon Valley labeled misinformation, which of course means any information they disagree with. The internet control freaks deeply resented Trump voters' resounding rejection of liberal media and Hollywood propaganda shilling for Hillary Clinton. So how exactly did Google leaders propose to solve the problem of Donald Trump and the populist movement's threat to globalism and Silicon Valley? Through machine learning and artificial intelligence reprogramming.
Look, I think our investments in machine learning and AI is a big opportunity here. There are work we have done. The Jigsaw team did around what they call conversation AI, around, to look at bullying and, commenting. And so a lot of this is a problem of scale and not being able to keep up. So like human systems fail in many of these things. So I think, but investing more in machine learning and AI could be one way we actually make progress on some of this, some of this stuff. But I think we should do more.
Well, it's not just Google's top leaders who aim to shape internet users' views through its vast array of products. Overwhelmingly liberal rank-and-file employees working in all areas of Google are militant social justice warriors who spout critical race theory platitudes and anti-white male prejudice.
Speaking to white men, there's an opportunity for you right now to understand your privilege in the society. Take the opportunity to go through the bias-busting training, read about privilege, read about the real history of oppression in our country, and tomorrow night, watch 13th, the movie that is here. If you can't watch it here, watch it on Netflix. Discuss the issues you are passionate about during Thanksgiving dinner, and don't back down and laugh it off when you hear the voice of oppression speak through metaphors, and I promise to do this.
Here's a question. How can these Google executives and their employees be entrusted to create algorithms and to train machines to be fair when they see populists as a national security threat, Trump voters as stupid, America as inherently oppressive, and all white men as racists who must renounce their privilege? Think about Google's values as you watch this explanation of the company's machine learning fairness initiative controlling the information we're able to consume.
From tackling offensive or clearly misleading information from appearing at the top of your search results page, to adding a feedback tool on the search bar so people can flag hateful or inappropriate autocomplete suggestions. It's a complex issue and there's no magic bullet, but it starts with all of us being aware of it so we can all be part of the conversation. Because technology should work for everyone.
Well, a few government officials in Washington have been sounding the alarm over big tech's master machine learning manipulators for years. Federal Communications Commission Chairman Ajit Pai gets it.
November of 2017, so almost 3 years ago, I talked about the fact that Twitter, Facebook, and some of these other social media platforms are using algorithms that make determinations about what consumers see and what they can't see, and that they needed to be open about how that was operating. And I think 3 years on almost, that debate is more aggressive than ever. And I think part of the reason is that people are using these platforms without a full understanding of exactly how these decisions are being made.
So why did it take until 2 weeks before Election Day for the Justice Department to unveil its antitrust case, and for Senate Republicans to threaten Silicon Valley CEOs with subpoenas, and for the FCC to finally initiate Section 230 reform? Congressional hearings have been filled with cringe-inducing moments of boomer tech cluelessness about the countless overt and covert ways that tech tyrants are suppressing, stifling, and censoring citizens who oppose globalism, open borders, and left-wing identity politics. Too many politicians only care about politically connected and powerful targets of censorship. And too many Beltway swamp creatures in both parties have been asleep at the wheel or bought off by Silicon Valley through 4 years of massive purges of online conservatives and dissidents. As usual, we have to follow the money to find the truth.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.